translate those skills to officiating.
You can get a lot out of it.
It happens in every town, in every game.
We never have a perfect game, but the rewards always outweigh the negativities.
Granite City Food and Brewery has 2 Michigan locations in Troy and Northville. Serves made-from-scratch food, brews in-house beer, and even has brunch every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. To learn more about their daily specials or to book a private party, visit gcfb.com. Make sure you head over to Granite City in Northville at the corner of 7 Mile and Haggerty, or the Troy location at 16 Mile and I-75.
We like to do it before we go out on the weekend.
We do.
We do it every week.
Whether we need to or not.
We did it today.
It was really dirty.
My parents do it every day.
Hey, kiddo!
Do it every day with the Unlimited Club only at Jack's Car Wash. Protect your car from the hot summer sun, dust, dirt, and contaminants all summer long with the Jack's Unlimited Club.
Join today, starting at just $24.99 a month.
I watch soccer on the Michigan Soccer Network.
I watch soccer on Michigan Soccer Network.
لا تنسون تتابعونا على Michigan Soccer Network.
I watch soccer on Michigan Soccer Network.
I like to watch soccer on Michigan Soccer Network.
I watch soccer on Michigan Soccer Network.
Me gusta mirar fútbol en Michigan Soccer Network.
I watch soccer on Michigan Soccer Network.
I love watching soccer on the Michigan Soccer Network.
Well, hello. We apologize for the delay. Something that we wanted to do today here was be able to, on some level, increase some of the, what I would say, the visual aspects of what we're doing here, as well as the audio aspect of what we're doing. And working out some of those glitches, it took us a little longer than expected, but nonetheless, here we are. It is the high school ranking show here, right here on the Michigan Soccer Network, something that we do here now every single Sunday night. Usually live at 8 o'clock, not normally at 8:15, but we do appreciate you tagging along nonetheless.
Yeah, some small technical difficulties, but here we go.
That is right. Just checking out the sound. We are using lavaliers here today, Dan, something a little different. But the top 60 rankings right now here in the state of Michigan, we'll be starting to get through those here in just a moment with you. Before we go into that, though, let's talk a little bit here about these rankings and really what they mean here across the state, Dan.
Yeah, well, there's a division chair in each division. We talked about this the last 2 weeks, and they do their best to try to gather as many results from around the lower peninsula as possible, and they come up with a ranking each division, top 15. It's been top 15 the last few years. It was top 20 for a couple years, and then years ago it was just a top 10, but they've decided on top 15 is a reasonable number to rank in each division.
Yeah, and we have the top 15 from each division here tonight. Some movement here across the board here over the games that took place here earlier this week. But after tonight's rankings, things are going to start to really heat up here around the state.
Yeah, you're in the thick of the conference races now. And there has been some movement. There's a couple upsets in each division this week, and we'll see where everyone falls.
So let's get right into them here. We'll start here with Division 4 and looking at Byron Center, Byron Center, Zion Christian currently in that 11th spot. But we look at Western Michigan Christian 6-6-1, Leland 6-2-0, Royal Oak Shrine in that 13th spot 8-4-1. Clarkson Everest Collegiate at 5-3-1.
Yeah, and the bottom two teams break into the rankings for the first time. Muskegon Western Michigan Christian is 500. They're independent the last couple of years, but a lot of history with that program, a lot of Final Fours, several state championships and runners-up, and a quality program. Yeah, you figured it was only a matter of time before they broke in.
Yes, that is correct. As you're looking on your screen, as we talk about here throughout these broadcasts, we'll put the rankings up here. Let you guys take a look at them. This time, me and Dan not in the picture, a little different from the weeks past here, but we wanted to put these up on the screen as we look now here at Division 3. Division 3, number 15, Ogana Heights, 7-1-2. They were 14th last week. Saginaw Swan Valley, 7-2-2. They were unranked and not in the top 15 last week. Frankenmuth 9-3-3. Flint Powers Catholic 5-7-0. Macomb Lutheran North 5-2-3. I had a chance to see them here earlier this week, Dan, at that fight against Orchard Lake St. Mary's. That was a 0-0 draw. Macomb obviously has a storied past, a number of never won a state championship though, but have done a lot of great things in Division 3.
Yeah, and they come out of that Catholic League AA division. That's always another one of the better conferences for Division 2 and 3 schools.
As let's take a look now at Division 2 on your screen as it rolls through. 15, Bloomfield Hills, Cranbrook, Kingswood, unranked last week. They're 3-0-3. Zeeland East 8-2-0 at the 14th. They were down. They were 11th last week. Ludington 11-1-1. They were actually 14th last week. DeWitt 7-2-2. Moved up from 13, and Riverview moved up from 12. They were 13-2-0 overall.
Yeah, Cranbrook's a debut in the top 15 in that division. Another story program that always knocking on the door the last 20 years. They've been a few Final Fours, regional finals. They come out of the Catholic League AA division, same as Lutheran North, as we mentioned earlier. And they actually were the division champions in that Catholic League last year.
That's right. As now we look now at Division 1, starting with number 15, Traverse City West. Traverse City West coming in unranked 9-1-0, getting into the top 15. Last week that was held by University of Detroit Jesuit. They're 4-3-2. Chippewa Valley 5-1-1 and 14. They moved down from the 11th spot from last week. Saline 11-2-0. They were unranked going into last week. Grand Haven 7-0-3. They were 13th. And then rounding out that 11th spot, Dearborn Fortson, they were up from the 12th spot.
Let's talk about Traverse City West. 12 straight conference titles in the Big North Conference. They're going for number 13. They've been to the state finals twice the last 3 years. Saline made a debut out of the Southeastern Conference Red Division. That was won by Ann Arbor Pioneer last year. Saline brought back a ton of talent, and they're in first place in that league right now. There's 8 schools in the SCC Red. Expect them to keep climbing the charts.
That we do. And something that we want to talk about here as well is again, looking at these rankings. We've seen a number of these teams. We'll talk about that. One thing I wanted to mention, I apologize about from earlier tonight. We were going to be running our high school show here, our highlight results show from 6 to 8 p.m. But some of the technology that we're using right now, for example, was not here at that time. Something we were counting on as part of our broadcast did not arrive until Dan here got in studio here earlier this evening.
Yeah,
so
after 7 o'clock.
So it was a little late, but nonetheless, we do have it now. We're able to use it for this broadcast, and hopefully you there at home, wherever you're watching us, can hear us nice and clear, which is great. A lot more rankings coming up here, so don't go anywhere. When we come back here from break, we'll get back into these rankings, looking at 10 through 6 here across the state of Michigan for all 4 divisions. And we appreciate you stopping by here. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Smash that like button, as Grant Harrison always says, part of our broadcast. So, but we'll be right back here. You're watching the High School Ranking Show here on the Michigan Soccer Network.
Their first ball, their first uniform, their first number, their first teammate, their first goal, their first coach. We take great care in making sure their first isn't their last. We're so much more than a soccer class. Come play with us today at KickstartToddlerSoccer.com.
Granite City Food and Brewery has 2 Michigan locations in Troy and Northville. Serves made-from-scratch food, brews in-house beer, and even has brunch every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. To learn more about their daily specials or to book a private party, visit gcfb.com. Make sure you head over to Granite City in Northville at the corner of 7 Mile and Haggerty, or the Troy location at 16 Mile and I-75.
In life, things aren't scripted.
If you're an athlete, we need people like you and translate those skills to officiating.
You can get a lot out of it.
It happens in every town, in every game.
We never have a perfect game, but the rewards always outweigh the negativities.
The Windermere was originally built in 1887, the same year as Grand Hotel, as a summer cottage. And in 1904, my great uncle bought it, Patrick Dowd, who was a contractor here on the island. He built the governor's residence, he built Stonecliff and a lot of the other big homes on the island, and he converted it to a hotel. It has been in the Dowd family since that time. And my parents took over in 1945, and I took over in 1975. So it's been a family tradition. We're very proud of the Windermere. It has 26 rooms. We do not have a bar or dining room. We do provide continental breakfast in the morning. We are conveniently located to the boat dock, shopping area, restaurants, and we're about 4 blocks from Grand Hotel, the big hotel on the island. We have a wonderful porch on the front of the hotel, and we own the property across the street called Windermere Point. So all our guests really enjoy sitting on the porch and watching all the freighters go by. And it just is a wonderful ambiance to the hotel. The Windermere is open from Mother's Day weekend until the middle of October. We enjoy many repeat guests. We we have children. We have large rooms that accommodate families. So give us a call. We'd be happy to be your host on Mackinac Island.
Welcome back here into our Shelby Township studios here in Shelby Township, Michigan. So yet to be named Shelby Township Studios. We'll be talking about naming rights here in the coming weeks, hopefully days and weeks and months ahead. But you know, something that I wanted to touch on here just a bit before we get into these next part of the rankings is tomorrow we'll be in our full gear. Our gear comes in, our new polos, our new quarter zips, Dan. Yep. We won't be wearing kind of like our whatever we bring from home outfits here, but
Christmas is coming.
Christmas is coming starting tomorrow for us here on the Michigan Soccer Network, and we're excited about the opportunity to be able to wear, you know, our branded gear with our brand new logo, which if you see at the bottom of your screen there, it's our brand new logo. The MSN, we had that redeveloped here this past week, so we're excited about that. Let's go ahead and now dive, Dan, here into 10 through 6 of the rankings, starting here with Division 4. Looking here at Division 4, you've got Wyoming Potter's House Christian 3-4-2. You've got Marcellus Howardsville Christian 9-0. They were in 10th last week. Allen Park Inner City Baptist 5-2-1, moved up from the 6th spot, moved down from 6. Plymouth Christian 6-1-1, moved up from the 11th spot, and Rochester Hills Northwest 5-1-2.
Yeah, and 6 through 8 all come from the blue division of the Michigan Independent Athletic Conference. So those 3 teams are going to have a dogfight down the stretch here. It's 6 schools in that division, and all 3 teams in the top 10. Lots of soccer to go there. Wyomin's Potterhouse Christian's still at 10. They lost 8 starters from the state championship team, but still holding strong into the top 15.
And that they do. As we now look to Division 3. Traverse City Christian 6-3-2. They moved down from the 9th spot from last week. Pontiac Notre Dame Prep 7 ties. They're 7-1-7. They moved down from the 6th spot. Grosse Seal had a big week last week. They moved up from 10th at 8th now, 8-4-0. Elk Rapids 8-5-1, moved up from the 8th spot. And then Hudsonville Unity Christian moved down from 5th, but they're 7-2-2.
Yeah, we'll talk. Elk Rapids is in there. Played a lot of Division 1 and 2 schools early in the season, some tournaments. Now they're playing a lot of D3 and D4 schools, so we'd expect them to hang in the top 10. Grosse Seal has a lot of freshmen and sophomores on the roster. They had some injury issues the first few weeks of the season. They're starting to get some players back, so expect them to challenge for another Huron League title up there in a heated race with Riverview at the current time.
As we're now going to hop into Division 2, in that 10th spot, Fenton holds, same as last week. They're 9-0-1. They won 3 games last week. Parma Western moved down from the 8th spot. They're 9-0 still. Edwardsburg 9-2-0, moved down from the 7th spot from last week. Grand Rapids Christian 6-2-4, moved up from 9th, and then St. Joe's 12-0-2 is the same.
Yeah, Grand Rapids Christian state champs last year, graduated a ton of kids, but they have a lot of young talent on that team. They're starting to mesh. They've been climbing each week, and we'll see how they are come the end of the season, but they're right in the thick of things in the Ottawa Kent Conference.
We're going to move to Division 1, but in just a second, as we'll bring you back in here and take a look at us. But had a chance this past week in Division 2. We saw some really good teams out on the west side of the state that we'll talk about here through 5-1. But a great matchup. The west side of the state does not get enough love, I think, in regards to soccer in Michigan. I know that we travel soccer and things like that, but we had a chance to go out to Grand Rapids Christian on Tuesday for that matchup against East Grand Rapids. You can watch that full game here on our YouTube channel here after the show. But a beautiful stadium, beautiful soccer that was played here this last week. They won that state championship last year, and they are a phenomenal program.
Yep, it's one of those programs that just reloads. They don't rebuild, they reload.
That they do is, let's take a look here now at Division 1. I'll put that back up on the screen here for you. Division 1 in that 10 through 6 spot. Clarkston holds at 9-2-2. They're the same spot as last week. Northville 8-2-1, moved down from the 8th spot. Rochester Adams moved down from 7th. They're now 6-1-3. And then Plymouth Salem 9-3-0. They moved up from the 9th spot. And then Troy Athens 9-2-1, holding at 6.
Yeah, if you look at those 5 teams, they're all either from the West Division of the KLA or the Red Division of the Oakland Activities Association. 2 of the best leagues in the state year in, year out. So a lot of one-goal games, a lot of draws in those leagues. Those teams will move every week, but for talent, there's not a lot of difference between some of those schools.
No, there isn't. As you look at these rankings, and from what we've seen here throughout, the first 3 weeks of this is now we're in the week 3 of these rankings. Seeing some trends. Troy Athens again holding their own there at that 6th spot. They've been in 6th since day 1. Rochester Adams has kind of been between that 6 and 7. They were at 8 in week 1, and again, just a lot of great teams here. But Troy Athens having a big game here this upcoming Tuesday against Troy High.
Very big game. Troy has lost 1 game in 2 years. That was in the regional finals last year to New Baltimore Anchor Bay, which actually dropped out of the 15 this week.
It did.
Still a quality program. So yeah, and then Adams was down significantly in the last few years, but they've reloaded. Last year they had some young kids, some injury issues, but they're back in the top 10, and they're playing some quality soccer.
I think this is the time too we can talk about as we're getting towards the business end of the rankings for this week, is to talk about the teams that sleeper teams or teams that that could be a team that should be maybe possibly in these top 15. I had a chance earlier today to talk with Kevin Tewitt from the Division 1 chair for the rankings for the Michigan High School Soccer Coaches Association, which we want to say thank you to them because, this partnership really is an opportunity for us here at the Michigan Soccer Network and for you, our viewers, players, and coaches and fans alike, to be able to see these rankings in a way that you haven't before. And as we grow as a network, as we build with our production staff, we'll be able to add a whole lot more to these broadcasts that will allow us to, I think, to take it up another level. But talking with Kevin Tuitt, Dan, we were talking about teams that maybe should be in the conversation for the top 15. One of those teams is a team that we saw this past Monday in Sterling Heights Stevenson, who won over Anchor Bay 3-1. And they're a team that I think people are counting out, but I think they do a great job.
Yeah, they come out of the red division of Macomb Area Conference. That's a very kind of wide open division right now, but they're playing better soccer, a very good junior class. Portage Central is another team that was expected to do well. They're starting to play better soccer, so in the future they could crack into the rankings as well.
We also talked about Utica Eisenhower, about how they're right there as well. And the MAC Red is the one thing that Kevin made a point to me, which is I think is a really good one, is the fact that a lot of the teams, like now for Berkeley, for example, played a ton of games. Right, you're starting to see teams playing 13 and 14 games already in their season. Meanwhile, like a team like Utica, a team like Fraser, a team in Utica Eisenhower and Sterling Heights Stevenson, they might have only been 8 or 9 games in. So there's 4 or 5 games missing from their schedule right now. That as this season starts to get, if we get further into it, I think we're going to see some changes in the top 15.
Yeah, and like I said, you get in those conference matchups. There's so many even games. A lot of these power conferences in each division. So teams might move up and down a little bit. In the MAC Red, Chippewa Valley, which we mentioned earlier, they've only had 1 loss in the season. They're playing a lot better than they have the last couple of years. But are they beatable? Yeah, anchor-based quality. Sterling Heights Stevenson's a good team. Eisenhower's getting better. They only played a couple games before Labor Day weekend, so the back end of their schedule's coming up. They'll have a lot of games down the stretch, whereas like a team like you mentioned, Berkeley, played in some tournaments in August, racked up a lot of wins, a lot of games. Now they're going to reduce the number of games they play each week heading into the state tournament.
Yeah, and just as this season keeps going, we're less than a month away now from the start of districts. And again, so the business end of the season is really getting close to being underway. We talk about, what we're trying to accomplish here at the Michigan Soccer Network with, we say shining a light, so to speak, on the game of soccer. What we believe has not been given the media attention that it deserves. That's why we're doing what we're doing, and we think it's something that's a long time coming. But while we're going through this process of bringing and shining this light onto soccer here in Michigan, we also want to talk about topics that are really important and things that need to be addressed in the game of soccer. One of those things is interacting with a referee, either as a coach, a player, a fan, maybe even the media. I mean, I don't know if I ever yelled at, as a referee, if I ever got yelled at by a media outlet, but there were some moments where I think the media asked some questions. But here's the thing. Just a couple days ago, there was an article based out of Petoskey about a Gaylord team playing, I think it was Traverse City team, right?
Traverse City Central.
Yeah, Traverse City Central. And a referee walked off the field in regards to that game. And we don't know the situation. Even if we were with the news and everything, you probably still really don't know what was going through the mind of the referee that made them decide to leave the match. The reality is this, we have to do a better job. We've partnered with the Michigan referee committee here in Michigan to be able to help recruit and help develop and educate referees, not as well as referees, but also as parents and fans of the game, players. We need to do a better job. And, there's a referee shortage in this country right now, and not just here in Michigan, across the board. And I can tell you this right now, that if you enjoy watching a soccer game like we do, we need referees. So it's our job as spectators, our jobs in the media, our jobs as coaches and players is to do a better job. And that might just mean, hey, you know what? One of the parts of this is maybe not saying anything at all. All right. And if you're a fan in the stands, maybe it's your opportunity to also stand up and say, hey, to the player or the parent next to you, hey, let's lay off the ref. We need more refs. And whatever we can do let's do our part.
It's a thankless job, John, to be an official. It doesn't matter at any level. In any sport, really. I've witnessed things over the last 30 years where you just shake your head. There always seems to be that one parent at a soccer game, at a volleyball game, at a baseball game, at a basketball game, whatever the case is. It's I guess embarrassing is the word for it, where I've never seen an official walk out of a gymnasium or off a soccer field or football field But some of these guys, they take some serious verbal abuse, and it's a difficult job to do.
Well, I mean, and it's not our job to tell you how to parent or how to be a better. I mean, there's not a book out there or anything I could say that's going to make me a better parent, anyways, or a player for that matter. But what I can tell you is that, you know, in all of my years of being around soccer, and it's 35 years, I've been an official, I've been a coach, I've been a player, and now I'm a broadcaster. I've never seen a call changed. Now, VAR has come around, right? But that VAR is not around so that the parents can, you know, pick at the referee and get it right. It's around to get the call right based on professionals being involved. The reality is no matter how hard you gripe, no matter how hard you yell, it isn't going to change the outcome. And is there ways for us to improve the game of soccer as it comes to officiating? Of course there is. But it's not going to happen during a game. And we have to just do our part as spectators, as fans, as you know, stewards of the game to help make this game better for everyone involved. And that might just mean, hey, we got to sit in our hands and maybe bring some duct tape to the game, you know, whatever we got to do to help out. So I just want to make sure I put that in there before we get into the 5 through 1 here of our top 60 teams in the state of Michigan for each division. Again, thank you to the Michigan High School Soccer Coaches Association for getting these tests. They get them to me every Sunday now at noon, right before the Lions kick off, which, by the way, the Lions won today. So, I mean, you know, hey, they did it in Lions fashion. They go up 22-0, right? 22-0, and then they make it interesting by allowing them to come back, and then ultimately winning, you know, in the last quarter, 36 to what? 36-27, I think is what the final score was. So congratulations to the Lions. Has nothing to do with soccer, but as a Lions fan, I wanted to get it in there. So, but without further ado, let's get here into the top rankings here in the state of Michigan, starting with Division 4. You're looking at Hillsdale Academy 5-4-2. They are the same as last week. Granville Calvin Christian 8-1-2. Lansing Christian 11-2. They moved up from 4 from last week. Grosse Pointe Woods University of Lickett is 7-0. They're in the same spot. Hartford 11-0, exact same spot.
Yeah, 5 quality programs that have done well the last few years. Hartford holding on strong at number 1. They were number 1 for quite a while last season, lost the regional finals. I mentioned that last week, and they brought back most of their starting lineup. So it sounds like that team is on a mission. Nick Blackmere has done a great job with that program.
That he has. Let's take a look now at Division 3. Howland Christian 7-1-2. They moved down from 3rd from last week. Imlay City is up from 7th at 8-3-1. Detroit Country Day 9-2-2, moved up from 4th. Grand Rapids South Christian moved down from 1st. Grand Rapids Catholic Central moved up from 2nd, so they just flip-flopped.
Yeah, Grand Rapids Catholic Central did beat South Christian 3-1 earlier this week. You know, South Christian went 22-0-3 en route to the Division III state championship last year, so that's their first loss since in 2 seasons. And then we talk sleeper picks. You got to talk Imlay City. They only lost 1-0 to Troy Athens, a Division I powerhouse, this past week. It's a program that's been building and building and building over many years. It's the first time they've been ranked in the top 5. They're the most highly ranked team in the Blue Water Area Conference, and once we get to the tournament, that's a very dangerous team, a lot of talent. Expect the Spartans to maybe make a run.
That they are. Is East Grand Rapids now. I saw them here earlier this week. They moved down from 2nd. They lost to Grand Rapids Christian here earlier this week. Grand Rapids Christian is still in that 7th spot after beating them, but they're 7-2-1. Grand Rapids Forest Hills Northern, they're in the same spot as last week, 7-2-1. Brother Rice moved up from the 5th spot to 7-1-1, and they're in 3rd. Grand Rapids Forest Hills Central moved up from 3rd, and Gold Lake staying the same at 12-1-0.
Yeah, Gold Lake did lose to Division I Portage Central 1-0 earlier this week. That's their first loss. And then you look at the Grand Rapids area with Forest Hills Central, Forest Hills Northern, East Grand Rapids Christian. There's so many quality teams that kind of been juggling around in those rankings, mainly in Division II and III. So there will be a lot of very good games coming up in those conferences.
You know, so Dan, I'm looking at this top 5 from, for Division I. 6 through 1 are exactly the same, so I think we're done. So looking at the rankings again here in that 5th spot, Okemos is at 8th, 0-3. Rockford 10, 0-1. Berkeley 15, 1-0. Troy 10-0. And Detroit Catholic Central 13, 1.
And Okemos still has not lost a game in almost 2 years. Troy, one loss last year, again, to Anchor Bay in the regional finals. Catholic Central, number one again, when they have their full lineup, that is an offensive machine. They're not beating people. Some of these games are, 4 or 5 goal differences. That is a quality team. They have all the pieces to make a run in the Final Four and maybe capture another state championship.
Yeah, just looking at, when we talk about Detroit Catholic Central, they have a powerhouse right now. And I think everybody across this state is really looking at Detroit Catholic Central as the favorite right now at this moment in time based on their current playing of winning the state championship right now as it is. Now, granted, Troy High and Okemos and Berkeley, all very, very quality teams that, we start talking about districts we've talked about here a little bit, is as districts start to, get underway here in 3 weeks, the teams that we're talking about right now, all of them are, there's going to be a bunch of them that are going to be falling in those first couple games of districts.
Yeah, those rankings, by the end of the first week of districts, when you get into the regionals, over half these teams are gone. Yeah. Not because they're not quality, it's because there's so many good teams in a district. I've seen years where there's been 5, 6, 7 ranked teams in a district of 8 schools. Will it happen this year? It's possible, but even some of those districts, they might have 3 ranked teams, but they have 4 other teams with winning records. It's a crapshoot. It goes down to one play sometimes. A lot of overtime games, a lot of shootouts, and we expect the same thing a month from now when it all kicks off.
No, and that's why, like, even as we start talking about districts, I'm getting excited about it because we're not to see teams get knocked out, but to see really quality soccer, and you're going to see it at the district level this year, as you have every year. I mean, last year Detroit Catholic Central lost to Northville in the district final. Northville went on and beat Troy High. Northville beat Clarkston in the regional final. Troy High lost to Anchor Bay, who wanted to play at Okemos. But again, looking at how these districts are shaped up, I mean, Troy and Troy Athens could see each other again in a district final again this year. There are so many different things that could happen when you start talking about playoff runs, and a lot of times who you get through in those districts will determine where your path is getting into those state finals.
Yeah, last year Troy and Troy Athens were with Berkeley and UD Jesuit in the same district. So any way you twist and turn it, only one team's going to win that district. And there's so many districts like that in each division where you look at it's like, well, who's going to win? It's just you can't. Sometimes you can't pick a winner. You just got to let the games play out and see what happens. And you'll see some heroics. Sometimes you'll see a defenseman score the game-winning goal in the shootout, on a team that has a bunch of future college players, and that's what makes it so special. I don't think there's anything better when you get to the tournaments of high school sports.
No, and we're excited about the opportunity. We've mentioned, if we haven't mentioned it, we will be live at the state finals in Novi here on November the 5th. We'll be doing a pregame show. We're actually testing out that pregame show here this upcoming Tuesday in regards to the upcoming Troy Athens crosstown derby. I don't know if that's even what they call it, but I went to Athens. We didn't call it a derby, but I know that derbies are a thing. And a lot of rivalry games coming up here, continuing to happen. But we'll be out at Troy Athens as they play in that matchup on Tuesday evening. Kickoff at 7 o'clock. Our pregame show coming to you live at 5:30 p.m. from Troy Athens. Will be right near the field, in between the concession stand there at Athens and the south goal. A great place to be because Troy Athens has one of the best concession stands in Michigan.
Oh, yes, they do. I think Troy Athens and Clarkston are 2 of the best, at least on the east side of the state.
Speaking of that, though, I think this is a great opportunity for us to talk about where you can come in. We are going to want to start talking about contests, and one of those contests should be, what are you guys providing at your concession stands that maybe makes you a little different? I know that when I went out to Clarkston, I forget the announcer's name. He did football as well. He did a fantastic job. You know what I'm talking about?
Neil. He's been around a long time.
Yeah,
yes.
He always said the best popcorn in Oakland County, right? He always said, now I don't know if that's true or not, but it's definitely a strong statement to make. Yeah. They have good popcorn, but is it the best? This is an opportunity for you guys as our viewers, players, coaches. Talk about the things like that. Let's find some interesting ways to be able to engage. We'd love to be able to come out and try, some food, see if you do have the best popcorn in Logan County.
I got to tell you, I love popcorn. Love popcorn. And I also love when schools give me free T-shirts.
Yes.
And baseball hats from their sports programs. I don't know.
Was that a plug for free stuff?
I don't know, maybe, but it's just the thing. I love it.
That's fair. Well, I mean, we got through the top 60 here once again. Yes, we were a little late, so we do apologize for that, but we are going to end early, so that's a good thing. Right? I mean,
I think they've listened to us talk long enough.
Well, we want to say thank you for joining us here again. Tomorrow night, I'll be live here in studio for MSN Weekly. That kicks off tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern right here in Shelby Township in our studios. On Tuesday, we'll be out at Troy Athens as they welcome in Troy High. Big rivalry matchup, number 2 in the state versus number 6. I'll be live here at 7 p.m., pregame at 5:30 p.m. And then on Wednesday, we'll be out at Sterling Heights Stevenson for a 7 p.m. kickoff in a MAC Red matchup between Stevenson and Grosse Pointe South, all coming to you live here on the Michigan Soccer Network. So, but without further ado, I wish everyone a very wonderful Sunday evening and an even better tomorrow.
Yes. Have a great week, and let's have some great soccer.
That we will.